There's a magic to certain names that conjure up an entire world with just a single sound. Say Margaritaville, and you're instantly transported to sandy beaches, crystal clear waters, and a carefree vibe that can only be associated with one man, Jimmy Buffett. But how did a boy from Mississippi, strumming a guitar to impress the girls, build a billion-dollar empire that spans music, restaurants, and real estate? Well, let's find out. Background. Born back in 1946, right in the heart of Mississippi, Jimmy's journey is as vibrant as his music. Growing up in the charming state of Alabama, Jimmy Buffett was a high school student with big dreams. But it wasn't all about the books for this southern boy. He was a real heartthrob and picked up the guitar to impress the ladies. His quest for romance led him to discover his musical calling. After college, he set his sights on Nashville, Tennessee, the country music capital of the world. With determination in his eyes and melodies in his heart, he released his first album in 1970. But that was just the beginning. You see, Jimmy always had a thing for the sea and decided to follow his dreams. So he packed up and headed to the beautiful Key West in the early 70s. This is where things got interesting. In Key West, he transformed into the beachcombing sensation we all know and love today. Imagine strolling along the sandy shores with his guitar and a drink in the other. Here, he inked a deal with ABC Dunhill and dropped White Sport Coat and A Pink Crustacean in 1973. The magic of his music and that laid-back vibe quickly drew a dedicated following. His fans, soon to be known as Parrot Heads, started flocking to his shows, decked out in Hawaiian shirts and embracing the tropical spirit. But it wasn't until his sixth album that Jimmy soared into the mainstream, all thanks to a little song called Margaritaville. The inspiration? It struck him during a wild night out in Austin, Texas, sipping margaritas at a local bar. He scribbled down the lyrics on a cocktail napkin. The rest is history. He played it for the first time that very night back in Key West. The song was an instant hit, climbing its way up to the Billboard Hot 100 charts top 10. Fast forward to his 1978 album, Son of a Sailor, featuring another classic, Cheeseburger in Paradise. This song wasn't just a hit, it symbolized Jimmy's incredible journey and launched a wave of business ventures defining his legacy. Throughout his illustrious career, Jimmy dropped around 40 albums and was always on the move, touring and spreading the good vibes. This was now the time he started his endeavor into the business world. His journey to wealth. So, we all know and love the classic 1977 song Margaritaville. Well, Jimmy Buffett didn't stop at just the music. He turned that catchy tune into Margaritaville Holdings, a true empire. His fortune was a blend of Margaritaville, tour earnings, a whopping $570 million worth, a $50 million music catalog, and $140 million in planes, homes, and Berkshire Hathaway stock. And it all started in 1985 when Jimmy opened his first Margaritaville store in sunny Key West, Florida. Little did he know that this was just the beginning of something massive. That humble store soon became a successful restaurant chain, spreading its laid-back vibes across the U.S. and the Caribbean. We're talking about Atlantic City, New Orleans, Nashville, Turks and Caicos, Las Vegas, Jamaica, Orlando, and the Cayman Islands. In 2010, the first Margaritaville hotel popped up on Pensacola Beach in Florida, a dreamy destination for spring breakers and beach lovers. And the wave of hotels kept coming, from Myrtle Beach to Hollywood, Pigeon Forge to Gatlinburg, and even as far as Palm Springs, California. Let's not forget the Margaritaville Hotel that landed right in the heart of New York City's Times Square in 2021. And well, Margaritaville didn't just stop at hotels and restaurants. They've got vacation clubs in St. Thomas, the Virgin Islands, and Puerto Rico. And guess what? More than 20 million people flock to Margaritaville branded spots yearly, boasting a staggering $1.7 billion annual system-wide sales. But that's not all. Jimmy had his fingers in many pies, or should we say, cheeseburgers in paradise. In 2011, he opened the first Margaritaville casino in Las Vegas, in partnership with the Flamingo Las Vegas. And now, you can find Margaritaville casinos in Bossier City, Louisiana, and Rio Mar, Puerto Rico. But wait, there's more. Margaritaville isn't just on land, it's also at sea. The Margaritaville Paradise cruise ship set sail from Florida in April 2022. With 658 cabins, branded food and drink options, 8 dining venues, 5 bars, and 10 floors of paradise to explore, it's a parrot head's dream come true. Now, you might be wondering about Landshark Bar and Grill. Yep, Jimmy owned that too. It's a name that came straight from one of his hit songs, Fins. And guess what? Many Margaritaville hotels and resorts have a land shark inside, including the Times Square Resort. It's not just a restaurant, it's a whole experience. And here's a tidbit for you. Landshark isn't just a restaurant, it's also a beer. Jimmy was involved in that too. In 2006, he teamed up with Anheuser-Busch to launch Landshark. It was a Corona killer and was still selling a whopping 4 million cases yearly as of 2019. But remember that Jimmy Buffett was a musician and a prolific author. He penned novels like A Salty Piece of Land, Swine Tale, Where is Joe Merchant, and nonfiction works like A Parrot Looks at 50 and Tales from Margaritaville. His literary talents even landed him on the New York Times bestseller list, topping both fiction and nonfiction categories. Jimmy also made a mark in the movie world. He scored and produced the 2006 children's film Hoot, a nod to his interest in conservation and environmental themes. In 2019, he ventured into the world of cannabis with Coral Reefer, named after his band. Teaming up with Surterra Wellness, he launched a line of cannabis wellness products. According to Jimmy, it was all about having fun and staying healthy enough to enjoy life. And remember his investment in the eyeglasses brand Warby Parker, showing that Jimmy's business ventures extended far beyond Margaritaville. But it wasn't just about business for Jimmy. He was heavily involved in charity efforts, co-founding some charity organizations with the likes of former Florida Governor Bob Graham. Their mission? Protecting manatees and their habitat. Today, it's the leading manatee conservation group, focusing on awareness, education, research, and advocacy. When it comes to his lifestyle, it was amazing. He had homes in some of the most desirable spots on the planet. We're talking Sag Harbor, New York, Palm Beach, Florida, Beverly Hills, California, and the beautiful Caribbean island of St. Bart's. Now, his Sag Harbor home was something special, 90s, and had some pretty cool neighbors too. Imagine rubbing shoulders with the likes of Billy Joel and Paul Simon while sipping on a margarita on a warm summer's evening. And according to Forbes, he didn't just have one home, he owned 3 side by side. That's island living, Buffett style. Speaking of islands, let's hop over to St. Bart's. Jimmy purchased a home there in 2006, and in 2018, he was still busy building his latest island getaway. It's like his own personal paradise in the Caribbean. But that's not all. In 2014, he snagged an $8.25 million home in the glitzy neighborhood of Beverly Hills. With 4,300 square feet of living space, 4 bedrooms and 5 bathrooms, it's a piece of California dreamin'. And guess what? He bought it for under $5 million back in 2011. Talk about a savvy investor. But the real estate adventures didn't stop there. Jimmy Buffett owned 2 homes right across the street from each other. He bought the first in 2002 for $802,000 and the second in 2013 for $1.3 million. The second one boasted 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths, and a spacious 3,100 square feet. That's what we call living the high life. Jimmy wasn't just about living in paradise. He loved exploring it too. During the summer, you would often see him cruising the East Coast on his motorized sailboat, the Drifter. Ted Fontaine custom-made and designed it, measuring a cool 15.24 meters. We can't say how much the Drifter costs, but similar-sized yachts can go for around $2.25 million. And knowing Jimmy's love for customization, you can bet his sailboat was exceptional. But that's not all when it comes to transportation. Jimmy Buffett was a bona fide pilot, owning not just one, but multiple planes. He had 6 of them, all registered to Strange Bird Inc., named after his 1989 song. But the show star was the Hemisphere Dancer, a seaplane from the 50s. It was practically a legend in the parrot head world, even appearing in his book, A Pirate Looks at 50. After retiring from active service in 2003, it found a new home at the Margaritaville Cafe in Orlando. You could even spot it in his song, Jamaica Mistake-a, where he sang about Jamaican authorities getting too curious about what he was carrying on board. Unfortunately, he died on September 1, 2023, leaving a legacy that will forever be remembered. From sandy beaches to billion-dollar businesses, Jimmy Buffett's journey has been nothing short of incredible. But what do you think is the key to his lasting success and allure?